So one of the big topics in this chapter that was new for us is this whole idea of transformations. And there were three congruence transformations that we considered. When we apply these, basically everything on the Cartesian coordinate plane gets moved around. Um, Sometimes we leave some things behind just for reference, but literally if you were making these transformations, everything would be subjected to it. Um, And the three congruence transformations we have were reflections, rotations, and translations. Those are all three different forms of something we call transformations. There's another transformation called a dilation. That is not a congruence transformation because it makes the shape that we're looking at either larger or smaller. We're asked to plot some points to create triangle ABC, and then we're going to subject that triangle to a transformation, and then we're going to subject that resulting triangle to another transformation, and then finally we'll submit that one last time to another transformation. So each time we'll be producing new triangles along the way. So let's start by plotting our points here. The first point I have is at -7, +3. So this point right here is A, and it is at -7, +3. Our next point B is at -6, +2. So this is B, and its coordinates are -6, 2. Um, I encourage you to write down coordinates like this because it helps you, you know, start to see what's happening to the coordinates and the patterns that are involved when we subject it to some of these transformations. The final point there is C, which is at -4, 4. So I write C, and that is the point -4, 4. Now, this is a triangle, and I'll sketch that triangle. Probably recommend having a ruler, an index card, or something with you when you're doing these. So this is the triangle we start with, and the first thing that we're asked to do is to do a reflection across the x-axis. And in case you forgot, right, this is the x-axis, and we're gonna reflect this whole thing across this axis. And when we do this reflection, notice what happens, right? All the x values stay the same. Our x values of -7, -6, and -4 will still be -6, -7, -6, and -4. But our y values, which are positive, are going to become the opposites. So A is going to move to -7, -3. So this is the new location for A. We'll call it A prime, and it's located at -7, -3. Our next point is going to be at, it's going to be point B, and it's going to be at -6, -2. And I'm going to call this B prime, and again it's at -6, -2. And then our final point, C, is going to live at -4, B is at 0, comma, no, B is at X is 1, Y is 0, so it's at 1, comma, 0. A is at 2, comma, 1, and the C triple prime is at -1, 2. So I'll erase these blue lines, and let me go ahead and sketch in the triangle again. So you can see this kept the orientation of this exactly the same. Whoops. But it just, sometimes we call this a slide, right? Just kind of slid it down and over, or over and down. So those are all of our transformations, and that's what that question should look like when you're done with it. And then for question C, it's just a matter of, or D, E, and F, it's a matter of just reading some coordinates. So D asks us, what are the coordinates of C prime? Well, C prime was at -4, -4. What are the coordinates of B double prime? That's way over here, and that was a -6, comma, -2. And then the last one, what are the coordinates of A triple prime? And that's right here. A triple prime was at 2, comma, 1. Um, I just made a terrible mistake. I'm looking at B and I'm like, wait a minute, that's in the first quadrant. There's no way that those are negative numbers. And it's a good thing I caught that just now because I would have lost points on my test. So this is at 6 comma 2. I realize a lot of you are like, hey, I got it right here. I got extra credit. Mr. Roberts made a mistake. And you know what? If you come in and say, hey, Mr. Roberts, I noticed you did make a mistake when you were doing those transformations. That B double prime, you wrote down the wrong coordinates. Mention it to me, right? That tells me that you watched this, you suffered through it, and I appreciate it when you give me some feedback and tell me I made a mistake. But it is nice to know that, yeah, you can make a mistake and you can actually recover from them too. All right, so that's the end of that question. Again, that kind of comprised of, I would say, not a half, but maybe a little bit more than a third of the new material in this chapter.